everyone. I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Forsyth County Connections, coming to you from the Government Center in Winston-Salem. So glad you could join us today. We have a lot of great guests, important information coming your way throughout the half hour. And where we want to start is speaking with an old friend. Not that he's old, I'm older than he is, but he's a friend. He's been on the show many times before. We're talking about August Vernon. He's Director of Winston-Salem, Forsyth County Office of Emergency Management. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
First of all, remind everybody what your office does in case they haven't seen you make talks around the community or whatever. What does your office do?
Well, the Office of Emergency Management, we're responsible for planning for disasters, both natural and man-made, and really bringing all the resources together in the community to plan, prepare, respond, and recover from those kind of events.
And that brings us to the next thing you emailed me about, is to remind me to bring up the thing about a recent, pretty unique event that you hosted not too long ago. What was that?
Yeah, so we were fortunate 2 weeks ago to host a National Weather Service regional hurricane workshop, and this was the first time they had done it in North Carolina in a community, and so it turned out to be really a great event for us.
How does it benefit, maybe this is a stupid question, but how does it benefit you and your team and the community to be able to host this thing rather than, go off and do something at a conference?
Yeah, well, that's, there's a good question with that, or a good question, but number one, we were able to host it here in our community in Kernersville, which allows us to bring all our local partners across the region in. Number two, the focus of the exercise, obviously it was a simulated hurricane impacting this area. The focus of the exercise was the Piedmont Triad, which is where we would need to respond and recover from an incident like that.
Was it pretty realistic? I mean, I've never been to one of those. I mean, this is not playtime. You guys are serious, right?
No, we take this very seriously, and we do a variety of exercises on everything from plane crashes to active shooter incidents and bad weather. And we've been pretty fortunate. North Carolina has not been impacted in this area by a serious hurricane in a while.
Oh, yeah.
And we know the public kind of works off muscle memory when these events happen, and they make their decisions based on the past few years. So we thought it was important to do this exercise.
Right. What are some of the topics that you covered with the participants? You had a lot of people coming from different areas. What did you cover?
Yeah, so there's really two parts to what we did with the workshop. One was it talked about all the technology and resources that the National Weather Service has, which is the national weather service that covers the entire United States under NOAA, and we have a regional office here in the Raleigh area that we work with, so they sent a lot of their team down. So one, it was just talk about how they do weather forecasting and a lot of great technology that is accessible to us and the public and others who want it. And then part two to that day was then the group had to go through a scenario.
Right. Now, did I hear that weather.gov is a website you can go to?
Absolutely. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation around even things like the weather. So we utilize and would recommend that the public uses weather.gov to go get accurate forecasts, and it also has planning tools for you, and you can kind of really see the same thing that the meteorologists see.
August, tell me, so I want to pick your brain on this before we let you go, and that's to get maybe some tips for people as we get into hurricane and storm season when there are natural disasters. Give us some tips on things we might be able to prepare for now.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, if you can prepare for one, you can prepare for a lot of hazards, whether it's tornadoes, flooding, or winter weather, or anything else. We advise to do three things. One, have a plan, and now's the time to make the plan on what you, your community, your family, your business would do. Number two, have a kit, a disaster preparedness kit with all the things in it that you may need, and that looks different for every household.
Sure.
And number three, have a way to receive information. We've all become very dependent upon our cell phones, but in storms, my family is in Houston, and obviously their cell phones weren't working with the hurricane that just went through there.
Right.
So you have to have other means of getting accurate information, which can include battery-powered NOAA weather radios, hand crank AM, FM radios.
I've got one of those little, it's a tiny transistor thing on my desk, that you can.
And those will continue to work even if your cell phone goes down. So
Right.
Again, that's the three things. Have a kit, make a plan, and have a way to get information.
Yeah. And for some of us, although I'm not saying that Austin advocates for this, but I also happen to have some landlines phones.
Absolutely. I have one too.
I get kidded about, but
I do too, but I still have one.
weather.gov. Anything else people should go to? Is a specific website or anything you want to
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. For people in the city and county and the region, we have a website called Ready Forsyth, And there'll be a lot of information on there for the public on how to prepare yourself, elderly parents, pets, any of the things you need to prepare for.
Weather Forsyth. As always, August Vernon, plenty of good information. Thanks for all you do for the community.
No problem. Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
Emergencies happen. Every home needs an emergency kit. Are you ready? Start with a large suitcase. They're mobile. For safety and security, pack extra clothes, matches inside a waterproof container, a first aid kit and manual, flashlight and battery-powered radio and extra batteries. For nutrition, your kit should contain a 3-day supply of non-perishable food, kitchen utensils like a manual can opener. For hygiene, pack hand sanitizer, soap, bleach, and toilet paper. For financial matters, have these important documents: photocopies of identification, insurance policies, credit cards, cash and coins. For health, prescription medications, glasses and hearing aids. For your mental health, consider a simple board game. Your kid should match your family. It may be different if you have an infant, seniors, or pets. It may even vary from one season to the next. Update the kit whenever we roll the clocks forward in the spring and back in the fall. You can see other examples of what you may want in the kit at readyforsyth.org. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at readyforsyth.
Back now for Forsyth County Connections. Thanks for sticking with us. Our special guest right now is Arisbett Adame Smith. She's intake specialist for Forsyth County Community and Economic Development Department. That is a long title, and welcome.
Thank you.
Native of Los Angeles, but only for 3 months of your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Isn't that interesting? There's a backstory there. We won't go into it. Now tell me about the county's program to rehabilitate homes and what kind of renovations are done.
Yeah, so the goal of our rehabilitation program is to provide assistance to households within Forsyth County who are low in income. And so with this program, we really are trying to preserve the housing stock, and that way we can promote aging in place.
Absolutely. Now, where is you said, we talk about the county, but this is a big county.
Mm-hmm.
Where specifically would the program be available, and who is eligible?
Yeah, so it's anywhere in Forsyth County, preferably for those who are outside of the city of Winston limits. And so the people who we serve are people who are low in income, but also if they have some sort of special need. And when I say that is if it's a person who is disabled, if they're elderly, if they're a veteran, if it's a single family household, and then also if there are any children in the home that might have been perhaps been exposed to lead-based paint hazards.
Something that's got to be taken care of right away.
That's right.
Let's talk about that. What kinds of disrepair do you find homes in to help you determine what kind of rehab is needed?
Yeah. So typical repairs can range from a roof replacement to installation of a new HVAC system, any plumbing issues, including any bathroom accessibility modifications that might be needed. And so the beautiful thing about this program is that we can invest from $5,000 up to $60,000. So
Right.
It just depends on the kind of need. And so we do work with a variety of contractors who are licensed and insured, and we actually have a few that have been working with us for more than 20 years.
Wow.
So we know that they're reliable and they're easy to work with. And then we also benefit from the different partnerships and agencies that we work with. For example, Duke Energy.
Duke Energy,
Yeah.
because we have Randy Honeycutt
Yes.
on this program today.
So with their program, with the high energy usage program, we're able to leverage funding and address those safety and health concerns in the home.
All right, you said leverage funding. Let me help. I'm going to try to understand something here for the folks at home, because I'm a little dense sometimes. Now, when you talk about rehabbing, just like Randy's going to talk about things that need to be repaired or whatever, and you see things in disrepair, and you say you qualify if you're certain qualifications if you're low income. But now, are you saying that these things are just done? How is this funded so that it's not a cost that is incurred by the homeowner?
Yeah, so these fundings, we actually work with the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, who provides funds to us. They provide grants to us every year. We also have the Housing and Urban Development Department, and then our county commissioners here at Forsyth County, they have approved funding for home repair. And so it's very very beneficial to those residents who are here in Forsyth County, and we are grateful to be able to help them.
And helping these folks, it lifts all boats, as they say, with that.
Yes.
How many audits have you done to date, and how many projects have been completed?
So each year we strive for 30. And so for the past few years, we've been meeting that goal of doing 30 homes. And so, it's something that we want to continue to do each year to accomplish that 30 units a year.
How can homeowners apply for this?
Well, it starts with an application, and so, they can give us a call at our main line at 336-703-2684.
I'm going to get my pen out because I write slow. So tell me that number again.
It's 336-703-2684.
Okay, all right. 2684, okay, good.
Yes.
And then they go, what, you can go online too, or?
We have information online, but preferably they can give us a call. That way we take their information, or they can stop by the office. We're located on the 5th floor of the Forsyth County Government Center.
All right, Arisbett, I just thank you so much for what you're doing for so many people. It's making a difference in a lot of lives. I hope we can get you back sometime and give us an updated report.
Yes, thank you for having me here today.
Thank you. We'll be right back after this.
Does that golden dust have you on the defense? Stay ahead of the pollen with the Forsyth County pollen forecast delivered by email.
You got mail.
The Forsyth County Office of Environmental Assistance and Protection uses a pollen sampler in downtown to capture readings Monday through Friday. They analyze the findings, create a forecast, and
You got mail.
you have a forecast in your email for the next 3 days. Sign up online today.
Welcome back to Forsyth County Connections. Thanks for sticking with us. We have a guest with us that is new to this show, but not to other programs that I've done. Our good friend Randy Honeycutt is a senior solution developer for residential customer innovation at Duke Energy. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Tell me about you sent me an email with a lot of good information. One of the things you talked about in the email was the high energy use pilot program. Now, what does that do and who does it help?
Well, it's a program that is designed specifically for the most vulnerable customer. We're aiming to help customers that are what we call income qualified, that have high energy use. So this combination of I'm an income qualified customer, a low income customer, and I have high energy use, this is designed to try to help that customer reduce their energy usage.
Now, we'll get to income things in just a minute, but before I forget, would this be for people who just own or just rent or both or what?
It would be for both. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is for homeowners and renters, which is a little bit unique because a lot of times programs that are designed is really specific for homeowners, but this is a renter component to it also.
That's great. All right. Now, what kind of upgrades are typically identified when you guys do an audit, and how are those upgrades and necessities addressed? Tell me about that.
So we send in an auditor, energy auditor, and their intent is to figure out where the problems are. Now, what a lot of folks may not realize right off the bat is your home envelope's number one problem. So we're looking at how do we do an air sealing test on this house? What does the insulation look like? And then once we look at that and determine what we need, we move on to things that are electrical, that are important. HVAC units, old refrigerators that need to be replaced with an energy efficiency refrigerator.
Right.
Old hot water heaters, and we're replacing it with new technology, which is a heat pump water heater. So these are things that are energy efficient, but we've sealed the envelope of the house so it combos together. That's what the deal is.
That's a lot of work and a lot of great work that you're doing, which brings me back to the first thing we were going to talk about, and that's how somebody becomes eligible for this.
Well, it's a pilot, right? So we got 3 counties that we're in. Forsyth is one of them, and we need to start there, and then we need to get that KWH usage. So KWH usage annually, they need to have more 17,800 or more. Now, that's a weird number, and people go, where do I figure that out?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that's over my head.
Well, when we pull open our bill or our tax bill or any kind of bill,
It goes by kilowatts or something?
it does, but we're looking at that, what is my bill number? But on that bill, it tells them what your annual KWH is. You just have to look at all that other stuff that's on the page, but it shows them. So if they're greater than 17.8, so that's the eligibility, make sure they're in the right county,
Right.
make sure that they have the KWH usage, and then are they income qualified?
What does that mean?
So customers that are in a low income bracket, they are the ones that are eligible for this program. That's how we filed it with the commission. That's where we got our approval on. Now, they can show us the W-2 and we can see where they fit within that. It's 200% or below poverty level. We found a cool thing that we're using. Customers who have applied for government programs like LIHEAP, SIP, SNAP, Head Start, SSI, Medicaid.
Right.
These people have already showed all that information.
They're in the system.
So all we need to do is see their approval letter. And if they'll show that approval letter, then we get them income verified.
Wow. Now, how do they actually apply? How does that happen?
So there's a couple ways, as all things are these days. Website is one of the best places to go, and that's dukeenergy.com/free assistance.
Right.
You can go in there, you can click enroll, jumps you over to a form you fill out, and it comes in. You can text the word SAVE, S-A-V-E, to 34917.
Okay.
And if you want to talk to somebody on the website, there's a phone number. So it's
All right.
you can reach out and we'll help.
What's the goal of this pilot program going forward, and will it be available in other places later, or what's your feeling on that?
So we got it approved in March of 2023. We've got until March of 2025 or 1st of April of 2025. It's a 2-year pilot. The intent is when we get all this done, we want to measure. Did what we assume we could reduce for KWH from the customers? Did we hit that? If we did, then it offset the cost of what it took to do the upgrades. And so we're planning to take this to the commission and say, the pilot proved out, let's make this a program and take it everywhere across North Carolina.
Fantastic. I mean, you go in there and seal up windows and maybe replace a refrigerator, and yet you come out way ahead by figuring out the calculations on that. I just think it's a great program, and maybe you can come back later and update us, will you?
I would love to.
Thanks, Randy. We'll be right back after this.
Stress can keep you from sleeping, affect your moods, hurt your health, and your relationships. If you've lost a job, worry about your next meal, or have trouble making it through the day, we can help. Text STRESS to 211-211 to find a solution.
Medications taken as prescribed for you are safe. They should only come from a pharmacy or healthcare provider. Counterfeit prescription pills can kill. 7 out of 10 counterfeit pills tested by the Drug Enforcement Administration contain an amount of fentanyl that can be deadly. It only takes one pill, one time, to kill. One pill can kill. A message from Forsyth County Behavioral Health Services.
Back now on this episode of Forsyth County Connections. Thanks for staying with us. We have a special guest and a first-time visitor to the show. Hank Kennedy is Adult Protective Services Supervisor for Forsyth County's Department of Social Services. Thanks for being with us.
You're welcome.
We have a serious topic to talk about, Hank, and you're a pleasant fellow and you do a great job, and you're very enthusiastic about your job, but it's such a serious and sad topic that we're going to cover, and that is elder abuse. So first of all, give me some parameters on what it is, just to define it for people.
Oh, absolutely. Well, elder abuse is actually an international act or failure to act that causes or creates a risk of harm to an older adult. Common types of elder mistreatment include physical, sexual, emotional, psychological, or financial abuse.
So it comes in many forms.
It does.
And we've
absolutely.
heard horror stories of people who've, their families denied them the basics when they know they've got money, or just all sorts of things, so physical abuse. How common is this, Hank? I mean, sort of help me get a handle on this.
Absolutely. Well, about 1 in 10 Americans aged 60 plus have experienced abuse. When without decent health care and public resources, our population becomes much more at risk of abuse as we age. The impact, of course, of elder abuse is felt by people of all ages.
Sure.
Elder abuse also reduces resources of older adults' participation in the life of our communities. It creates legal costs and healthcare issues with many different public programs.
All right, suppose I'm just a regular observer, I'm not a family member or something. Let's talk about signs and symptoms. So if you and I just happen to witness something, or maybe observe somebody, an elderly person, and something doesn't seem right, what kind of signs and symptoms should we look for to know that maybe something's not right?
Absolutely. There are many different ones from the physical abuse, emotional and behavioral, and different financial. With physical signs, you may see things such as dehydration, unexplained weight loss, perhaps missing daily aids, such as if they have glasses or hearing aids or walkers, those no longer being there. There may be unexplained injuries, bruises, cuts or sores, broken bones. If it happens to be more sexual, it may be even a torn or a stained or bloody underclothing, unattended medical attention, or unexplained sexually transmitted diseases. You also have those things about the emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Absolutely.
not just physical.
It's not, absolutely. So you may have individuals much more paranoid. They may be increased fear, anxiety. They may become isolated from their friends or family.
All right, now what are some of the things that we could do to prevent elder abuse, or can you even do that? I mean, can you anticipate or prevent it, or what's your advice on that?
Absolutely. And part of it is what we were just talking about, learning those signs. Just because some of those are happening doesn't necessarily mean that elder abuse is occurring, but it certainly raises those flags. So
Right.
know those signs to look out for. Help to prevent isolation of your elderly loved ones, friends, family, what that may be. So maybe go and visit them or call them on a regular basis.
Good idea.
Talk to some of their friends or family members to help reduce that isolation. Be a friendly visitor, and do things just like we're doing today and everything else. In
Sure.
that, reaching out, writing letters to local TV stations, radio stations, so that they can cover some events that are going on, so that more awareness can occur.
How can I report it if I think that something's going on?
Absolutely. Here in Forsyth County, the easiest thing would be to contact Adult Protective Services. It may or may not qualify for us, but it's a good starting point, and that's just a one-stop number, which is the 336-703-3503.
All right, say that again.
336-703-3503.
Now, we didn't rehearse this or anything, but I'm just curious, because I know somebody's thinking this. You know, say, hey, Hank, I think I need to make a call. But they're thinking, is this anonymous? I mean, do I have to give my name and address and all that, or can I just call in and say, I think there's a problem?
Absolutely. It certainly can be entirely anonymous. One thing to note there, however, is that regardless of being totally anonymous, not knowing any names, all of our reporter information by statute and law is confidential, so it will never be shared back out unless law enforcement were to ask for it, or like a judge or something of that nature. Otherwise, it's confidential. That allows us to perhaps talk back with the reporter if we don't understand something and need some additional information.
Okay.
But you can be entirely anonymous.
Hank, as I said, you're a great guy. You do great work. I'm just sorry we have to talk about something this sad and serious, but there are ways to be aware of it and prevent it. And I think as the more you get out and talk to people and share information, we can combat that. Thanks for all you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll be right back after this.
Forsyth County residents outside Winston-Salem can be notified in cases of emergency. Code Red. Code Red is a free subscription-based alert system allowing residents to opt in and receive notifications from 911 about emergency operations happening near their location. The service is free and notifications are managed by 911. From the Forsyth County Emergency Services webpage, select the Code Red box. Create an account, complete the questions, and you've opted into a program that will keep you alerted. Code Red.
Back now for the last segment of this particular episode of Forsyth County Connections. Thanks for hanging with us. It's no secret that my wife and I are pet lovers. We have 3 dogs at home, and we're like 87 million other households of people that have dogs, and millions more that love dogs. So I thought it's appropriate to have this special guest with us, Tonya Ward's Office Administrator for Forsyth County Animal Shelter. Welcome, fellow pet lover.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Before we get to the serious topics here, what was the name of your first pet?
The name of my very first pet when I was young was, we had a gray tabby cat, and his name was Kenny Rogers, after the singer. My parents were big country music fans, and we all loved Kenny Rogers. So that was the name of our cat.
All right, that's good. That's very creative. All right, now, besides dogs and cats, what other kinds of animals end up at the shelter?
You would be surprised at the number of animals that end up at the shelter. Things like pigs, goats, rabbits, guinea pigs.
So you'll take anything?
We have all sorts of animals, usually coming in as strays. So they usually are picked up by the Animal Services Division of the Sheriff's Office, and they end up at the shelter that way.
Well, that sort of answers this question. I was going to ask you, where did most of your animals come from? But other than being picked up, I mean, are there various other ways they get to you?
There are. We unfortunately have folks sometimes that need to surrender an animal. They're no longer able to keep their pets and they have to surrender them. We also have animals that end up at the shelter when their owners go to the hospital perhaps, or are having other issues in their lives that the animal needs to be brought to the
Maybe
shelter
don't
for a
have family
temporary
members who can
period.
take them and that-
Precisely.
Yeah.
Maybe the owner passes away, or maybe they're ill, things like that.
What's the first step for someone who wants to actually adopt a pet?
Their first step is going to be to visit our website. It's very comprehensive and user-friendly. They can go to the Adoptable Animals tab, view all of the animals available for adoption, and they can fill out an application while they're there.
Well, let's remind everybody what is, I should do this at the end of the segment. I'll do it now so I don't forget.
Sure.
What is the website?
It is the Forsyth County Animal Shelter, and it can be found either through the main county website as one of the county departments,
Okay.
or if somebody just does a search for Forsyth County Animal Shelter, we
So
show
if
up.
So if I go to that website, I can learn a lot of different things about adoption. I mean, what can I learn about that?
You can see all of the adoptable animals and fill out an application, as I said. You can also look at animals that are on stray hold, so if your
So-
pet is missing.
So you even have photos of
Yes, we have
Oh,
photos. We have
okay.
photos and information about each of the animals, both adoptable animals and animals that are there on stray hold. So if somebody's missing a pet, they can go to our website to see if their missing pet
Isn't
is at
that,
the
I
shelter.
didn't know you did that.
Yes,
So if somebody's
yes.
panicked, their dog got lost, and that's one way to go, is go to that
Yes,
website.
yes.
I know you always need volunteers. So my question is, if somebody wants to volunteer, they love pets,
Sure.
What would they do as a volunteer?
They can do a variety of things. One of the big things, obviously, is dog walking. We have a lot of dogs available for adoption that love to get out for walks.
Sure.
They can do that. They can also help us with the dishes and laundry, which we have a lot of. And our staff works hard, but there's a lot. They can create enrichment items for the animals there, treats and things like that.
Isn't that great?
Yes,
What
lots
now-
of wonderful things.
Yeah, but then what kind of person are you looking for? Obviously, they need to be pet lovers, but what do I need to do to become a volunteer? Do I just show up or what?
I'm going to direct you back to our website for that.
Okay.
As I said, it's very comprehensive. There's also a tab about getting involved that'll take you to a volunteer application, which you would need to submit to us. We have you come in for a brief orientation where we go over the policies and procedures, and then you can start coming in and volunteering.
I guess you would never turn down a cash donation. I know I've been around before where organizations have donated money, but you also need things, right? What do you need donated?
We can always use things like blankets and towels, new or gently used.
Okay.
We can use food, dog food, cat food, dog treats for the animals in our
Right.
care and for the enrichment program. We can use cleaning products such as bleach and paper towels.
Okay, just about everything.
Just about.
I appreciate that, Tonya. Really, I thank you for all you do on behalf of our four-legged friends and others. So thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
That just about wraps it up for this edition of Forsyth County Connections. I'm so glad that you hung around with us and watched the program. I want to give some special thanks to Jeff Fabrizio. He, of course, puts the show together. Ed McNeil is our executive producer, as is our county manager, new county manager, who you met in one of our programs. You will meet her, Chantel Robinson. So a great team that we have here on Forsyth County Connections. For all of us here, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next time.